the Brotherhood of Maintenance Way employees. Negotiating committee voted not to extend their deadline for a rail strike, and then, in a revote, they voted to actually, yes, extend it after all.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Last Week in Southern Labor. That's a segment that we do every week where we tell you what happened in the labor movement in the South. We get this information from Jonah Furman's newsletter, Who Gets the Bird, which compiles all this information for the entire United States. So if you want to see what's going on outside of the South, then subscribe to that newsletter. It is whogetstthebird.substack.com. And with that, let's jump into new organizing for the week of November 6th through the 13th. In new organizing, Sodexo dining workers at New Orleans Loyola University are organizing with Unite Here. There are 100 first student school bus drivers in Amarillo, Texas, organizing with Teamsters, Local 577. 10 workers at HVAC contractor UD Contracting in Fort Knox, Kentucky, are joining UA Local 502. In wins and losses, we had a couple this week. 59 Starbucks workers at 3 stores, including in Arlington, Virginia, and Savannah Park, Texas, voted to join Starbucks Workers United in a combined 34-18 vote. 131 workers at Titan Concrete across South Florida lost their bid to join Teamsters Local 769 by 1 vote.
Oh.
By 1 vote, folks. 54-55. Now, there were 8 challenged ballots, so it's possible this one could flip, but that has got to be heartbreaking for the organizing committee. In strikes and bargaining, after meeting with Marty Walsh, the Brotherhood of Maintenance Way employees negotiating committee voted not to extend their deadline for a rail strike, and then, in a revote, they voted to actually, yes, extend it after all, lining up with the Brotherhood of Railroad Signalmen's December 4th deadline, in yet another back down from another rail union. Smart TD and the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen results were supposed to have been announced on November 17th. Their votes on the tentative agreement that they had from the membership, but I haven't seen anything come out about that, so we'll try to update y'all next week on that. The Airline Pilots Association pilots with United Airlines are picketing the United Pilots Training Center on Tuesday. FedEx Express pilots, also with the ALPA, are filing for mediation right now. The APFA flight attendants are picketing across American Airlines bases, and the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 689 has authorized a strike against Keolis in Loudoun County, Virginia, and Teamsters Local 533, who struck Keolis 3 times last year in 2021, are reopening several complaints they have against the company. Education negotiations in Bay County, Florida are at a, quote, standstill, according to local news. And in politics and legislation, Unite Here seems to be the core tactical field team that has carried the Democratic Party to Senate majorities in both 2020 and 2022, and yet there is no real expectation that they would get some particular legislation or political favor out of it, just because the favor is, frankly, not having the GOP majority itself, right? Maybe that'll change. Hopefully that'll change, and they'll cash in some clearer way, but it's pretty clear. It is pretty clear that they provided the field margin in Nevada and maybe Arizona, and maybe will do so again in Georgia. One political favor that labor could ask for is to save the National Labor Relations Board from what its staff union is calling, quote, budgetary Armageddon.
Oof.
And it's not just the staff union sounding the alarm. The NLRB chair, Lauren McFerrin, described the situation as akin to, quote, Lucille Ball at the chocolate factory. And General Counsel Jennifer Abruzzo talked about delays in case processing. We're going to be digging a bit deeper into what's happening at the NLRB in overtime, I believe. So stay tuned. We've got some words from the staff union on that. And finally, in internal union politics, there are just over 2 weeks until ballots are counted in the UAW election, and the federally appointed election monitor has found the incumbents illegally used an email list to contact 600 voters. Now, that may not sound like many, but with turnout currently standing at less than 9%, with again more than 2 weeks left to go in a mail-in election, but still, in a 5-way contested race for the presidency, it could very well end up mattering.
Right.
And I think it's fair to wonder what other resources might have been put to use for incumbent advantage, but we'll see. Amid all the pilot labor activity, the APA, representing American Airlines pilots, is considering a merger with the ALPA, representing pilots at 40 or so other carriers. The APA originally broke away in the 60s, so this would be something of a reunification.
Right. Interesting. There was definitely a lot of airline activity over the last couple of weeks.
For more details about what's going on in the airline pilot labor situation, Jonah Furman has a breakdown about that specifically in Labor Notes. So, as always, subscribe to Labor Notes, obviously.
And read Jonah Furman, wherever he may be.
Yeah.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.